Hello developer, welcome to the DevByteSchool. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Shailesh Patil and I am an Android developer with having a 7 years of experience. In today's video, I will share my knowledge and experience gained over the last 7 years. This will help you on your coding journey from beginner to the pro. The video might be long because I have to cover many aspects of Android development, but I assure you that you will learn a lot today. So stay tuned until the end of the video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, click the bell icon for more updates. So let's get started with our first topic, which is the basics of programming. As a beginner in Android development, in current scenario, everyone suggests you to learn a basic fundamentals of Kotlin. However, based on my experience, if you begin your journey as an Android developer, there is a 50% chance that you will get an application created from the scratch using the Kotlin language. But the rest of the time, you may have to work on applications that are already developed in the Java language. So, as per my understanding, you should have a knowledge about Java language as well as the Kotlin language. So, let's first get started with the Java language. And our first topic is Java. In Java, we should start with the core Java, the fundamentals of a core Java, such as a variable and data type, like a int, double, char, float, and etc. After that, we can go ahead for the operator such as the arithmetic, relational, logical operator. After that, we can cover the control statement such as the if, switch, for loop, a while loop, and do while loop. Then we can proceed for the creation of method and the classes. After that, we can cover the arrays and string. After covering the core Java concept, we can go ahead for the OOPS concept. Inside the OOPS concept, the key pillar are encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Then we can move ahead for the collection. The collection is a very much important topic for the Android development. Why? Let's we can understand. So inside the list, we can cover the array list and the linked list. Then we can cover this set. Inside this set, we have the hash set and the tree set. After that, we can cover the map. Inside the map, we have the hash map and the tree map. Apart from there are so many topics in collection, but you can start coding after learning the discussed topics. So why the collection is very much important? For any operation purpose, we should have to store the data into the data type, and data store can be stored into the list, set, and map for the variation of operation purpose. For this, the collection is very much important. After that, we can cover the exception handling. Inside the exception handling, we can go ahead first, we can go ahead for the try catch block. Inside the try catch block, we should learn about how the exceptions are handled. After that, we can cover the throwing exception. Inside the throwing exception, we should know about for the throw keyword, and then we can cover the custom exception. For a reading purpose, I always use the Java Tapon website because I feel that the content of this Java Tapon website is very much easy to read. But as per my understanding, you can also use the Geeks for Games and Medium website also. So after completing the Java, we can move ahead with the Kotlin and we can see and explore the features of a Kotlin. First one is the null safety. As a developer, we don't want our app to crash because of null pointer exception. To avoid this, it's important to learn about the null safety. First one is the safe call. Second is the otherwise operator. Then third one is safe cast. After that, non-null assertion. So next topic we have the extension function. Extension function are allow developer to add a new functionality to existing class without modifying their source code. And try with the data classes. In Kotlin, a data class primarily used to hold the data with automatically generating method like a toString equals hash code and copy. So next, one of the important topic that we should learn is coroutine. Coroutine is a basically lightweight concurrent programming that enables asynchronous and non-blocking code execution, simplifying the handling of concurrent tasks with the help of coroutine scope, Kotlin builder, Kotlin context, and dispatchers. Next are the lambda expression. A lambda expression are anonymous function often used for a short and inline operation. Next, you can explore the topics such as the type inference, default and name argument, object keyword, scope function, and ranges. About ranges, in a Kotlin, ranges are easy to represent a sequence value between the 2 points, such as the start point and the end point. After learning the basics of Java and Kotlin, the next step is to install the Android Studio. Once installing the Android Studio, you can create an Android virtual device and start for a coding. After completing the installation process, we can go for the Android component. Learn the basics Android components such as the activity, fragment, services, broadcast receiver, and the content provider. Activity is one of the very important part of Android development. The activity represents a single user interactable screen in an app, managing the user interface and responding to the user interaction. You should understand the functionalities of the activity. Next, we can have the fragment. In Android, a fragment is a modular and reusable component, same as an activity, that represent a portion of a user interface and mainly used for a flexible and dynamic layout in an app. Next, we have to know about services. A services is a background task that perform operation without a user interface, allowing apps to execute tasks or process in a background even when the app is not actively in use. We have three types of services such as a foreground service, background service, and job intent service. Next are the broadcast receiver. In Android, a broadcast receiver is like a listening for a system or a app event and triggering action in response. We have two types of broadcast receivers such as a static broadcast receiver and dynamic broadcast receiver. Next, we can explore the content provider. Okay, inside the content provider, we have the manifest declaration, data storage, security and permission, and MIME types. So after completing the Android component, you can start with the XML layout and Jetpack Compose. Nowadays, Jetpack Compose is booming, but as I mentioned earlier, you might get a chance to work on old app. Therefore, it's essential to be aware of how layout works. You should know how linear layout, relative layout, constraint layout work and what is the difference between them are. While learning the Jetpack Compose, you can start learning concepts like a column, row, box, constraint layout, spacer, lazy column, and lazy row. Next, we can start with the recycler view. A recycler view is like a dynamic list that efficiently displays the data on the screen, and the diff util is a tool that help it update and refresh only the change item, making apps smoother and more efficient. And also, we can have the layout manager and adapter class inside the recycler view. So next, we have intent. First one is the explicit intent and second one is the implicit intent. So explicit intent are explicitly specifies the target component such as activity, service, or broadcast receiver to be invoked within the same application. Then we have the implicit intent. Implicit intent is a request to perform the action without specifying the target component or specified action, as seen in the example like opening camera, opening the gallery for image capture or the selection purpose. So next we have object serialization. Object serialization refers to the process of converting an object into format that can be easily transmitted for a purpose of inter-process communication. As we can see, we have the serializable interface and the parserable interface for the object serialization. Next, we have the runtime permission. Runtime permission asking the user permission to access the device feature like a camera and location while the app is running. Many more runtime permissions are also there that you can explore. After completing the above concept, you can create your own application. For example, if we can have the contact application, inside that you can add a contact showing list of them, then delete a contact, then edit a contact. For making more interesting, you can use a camera to click the picture or click the image of the person. Okay, and for a showing purpose, inside the image you can use the two libraries like a Glide and Picasso. You can create the application either in Java language or as well as the Kotlin language. After completing your own application, you feel very happy about yourself. Now it's a time for the networking library such as the Retrofit and Volley. Retrofit is a widely used HTTP client library for its easy to use and simplicity over the Volley. But the Volley has its own advantages like simplicity, request prioritization, and cache handling. So the next topic we should know about is the RX Java. Inside the RX Java is a tool for writing the programs that reacts to changes and handle asynchronous tasks by using observable sequences. The key components are the observable and the observer. Inside the observable, we have the types such as the observable, flowable, single, maybe, and completable. So you can use Pro Android Dev. So you can use the link below to learn for the more topics. So next we have the architecture components such as the navigation, data binding, work manager, and live data. So we can start our first component such as the navigation. In a navigation, it refers to the process of moving between different screen, fragment, or activities within an application by using the nav graph, nav controller, nav host, and the navigation UI. So next we have data binding. Data binding is a technique that connects UI component in the application layout directly to data source and mainly used for reducing the boilerplate code. So next we have the work manager. Work manager is a tool that helps developer easily schedule and manage background tasks, making it simpler to perform tasks even when the app is actively running. The key components are worker, work request, work manager, constant, work info and observability, and chaining work request. You can read the Mindox blog for the work manager, or you can refer the other website also. So next we have the live data. The live data is specific class in an Android used for building observable data objects. Live data is a lifecycle aware, like a activities or a fragment, and only updates the UI component that are in the active lifecycle state. It's commonly used for Android view model to hold the data and observe the data changes. Mainly, we have the three types of live data, such as the live data, mutable live data, and mediator live data. You can read the medium block for the live data. After completing a live data, we have a new topic recently introduced in Android, such as the Kotlin flow. It is like a continuous stream of values that can be produced and processed asynchronously, offering a convenient way to handle a flow in your code without causing each piece of information. It has the two types, such as the cold flow and the hot flow. And inside the hot flow, it has a two types, such as the state flow and the shared flow. Next, we can learn the important topic is database management. Inside that, we have the Room and the SQLite. Room is a persistence library that simplifies the local database operation in apps by providing an abstraction layer over the SQLite. The key components of Room are entity, DAO, database, and the time converters. But you should have aware about the functionalities of the SQLite because Room is the abstraction layer over the SQLite. Knowledge of concepts such as the table, column, rows, primary key, foreign key, and structure query language. We should know about how the SQLite is working. So for this, I have used the Geeks for Keeps documentation for the Room as well as the SQLite. So next we can start the shared preference. The shared preference is an important topic for a storage and retrieval of a key value pair persistently, providing a simple and lightweight mechanism for a data storage in Android application. So next we can start with the dependency injection. Dependency injection in Android development is the design pattern or a technique where the dependencies of classes such as the objects or a services are provided externally, usually through the framework like a Dagger 2, Dagger Hill, and a Coin, promoting the modularity, testability, and easier maintenance of the application code. For a learning Dagger 2 and Dagger Hill, I have used the YouTube channel is Codinger. It has given a very nice example for the explanation of Dagger 2 and the Dagger Hill. You can check for the same. After completing about topics, we can start with the one of the very important topic, which is the Android architecture. Inside the Android architecture, we have the three architectures such as the MVVM, clean architecture, and MVV. So let's get started with the MVVM architecture. The MVVM architecture is divided into three main components such as the model, view, and the view model. Model is used for the data and the business logic. View is used for the user interface, activity, and the fragment. And then view model is used for the UI-related logic and maintain the state. So basically, MVVM is the promoting the clean and maintainable code of structure. So next we can start to learn with the clean architecture. Clean architecture is a way of designing software that keeps things organized and easy to manage by dividing code into the three different layers such as the presentation layer, domain layer and the data layer by using the component as the entities, use case, repositories and the framework to making code more scalable, maintainable and the testable. For the clean architecture, I have used this YouTube channel to learn the clean architecture. The example is very good. You can check. So next we can start to learn the MVP architecture. Inside the MVP architecture, it stands for the model view presentator. Model which is handling the data and the business logic. View is a responsible for the displaying the user interface and the presentator is a mediator between the model and view, handling the user input and updating the UI accordingly. As per my experience, the MVVM is quite popular because of the data binding, separation of concern, testability, and the lifecycle handling. After learning the Android architecture component, we can start learning for the Firebase integration. Firebase integration is a tool which provides the features like a cloud messaging, means the notification. Second one is the authentication, which generally used for the Google and the Facebook logging. Third is the real-time database. We can handle our own database on the Firebase. Fourth, we have the analytics. And last, we have the crashlytics. Crashlytics is the basically used for to check all the crashes on the different device from the Firebase tool. So I have learned the Firebase implementation by using this channel. So you can learn the Firebase from this channel. The example are very good. After completing the Firebase integration, we can check for the UI UX design like a material design. Material design is the guidelines set by the Google to looks our application good and work smoothly. Next, we have the version control. We have a tool like a Git, which is the generally used for track our application code. It is like having a history book of the code, making it easy to collaborate, fix mistakes, and go back to the previous version if needed. Next, we have the Google Map integration. You can try to implement functionality within your app, such as a Google Map integration. So next we have a unit testing. In simpler term means checking small individual part of units of your code like a function method to ensure that they work as expected and contribute to the overall reliability of your app. For a unit testing, we can use the JUnit and for the UI testing, we can use the Espresso. And the last but not the least, which is the publishing apps. You should have an idea about how to publish your app on Play Store. So till now we have covered lots of topic. Android development is not a one-time learning process. You need to evolve your logic on daily basis. In the description, I will share YouTube link and interview question link related to the discussed topics. In the near future, we are planning to create a new Android play